Welcome back to Real Talk with INCODA. Today we have the amazing James C. Birdsong Jr. James C. Birdsong Jr. is an aspiring gospel vocalist, songwriter, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, advocate for our children, and author of The Best Is Yet to Come. It's a testimony of one young man's redemption, an inspirational memoir published nationally, and to this date received positive reviews and appearances on multiple television, radio, and print media platforms nationwide and globally. He's a native of Richmond, California. His efforts have caught the attention and respect of politicians, community, media, and entertainment leaders, and luminaries. He's a member of the famed Birdsong family. His lineage includes R&B legend Cindy Birdsong, who's a former member of Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells and the Supremes. Former four-time NBA All-Star pro basketball player Otis Birdsong, and the late Edwin Birdsong, GRAMMY Award winner and legendary 1970s era funk keyboardist, whose music has been sampled by Kanye West, Snoop Dogg, and Dalf Punk. Dr. Birdsong was the great-nephew of the late Reverend Cindy Birdsong Sr., a respected icon who served as the pastor of the historical Solid Rock Baptist Church in Los Angeles, California. An alumnus of Fairfield High School in Fairfield, California, Dr. Birdsong earned his Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Education at Beulah Heights University in Atlanta, Georgia. He earned a graduate certificate in marketing at the University of Phoenix in Phoenix, Arizona, and a Doctor of Sacred Music from New Covenant International Bible College in Columbia, South Carolina. He's also an award-winning gospel music industry professional. Dr. Birdsong is a recipient of the Albert Nelson Marquise Lifetime Achievement and Marquise Who's Who Top Artist Award. He's a multiple listee in Who's Who in America and Who's Who in the World, the Outstanding Georgia Citizens Award, the Congressional Record, the Black Essence Award in Gospel Music, and numerous citations, honors, nominations, proclamations, and resolutions. He is an advocate on the Wall of Tolerance at the Civil Memorial Center in Montgomery, Alabama, and the National Social of Leadership and Success in Jersey City, New Jersey. Wow, all I can say to that is wow. It's like your bio is phenomenal. What first got you into music?
Well, first of all, India, good afternoon to you and to all of the viewers on this broadcast today. Before I answer the question, I just want to tell all your viewers out there that's watching right now in the Washington, D.C., East Coast, United States, and around the world, this interview has been in the making for a very long time. So we are finally here. And I'm just honored and thank God for this another opportunity in the media. Well, first of all, I get this question a lot. Well, as you know, and those of you who know me and those who don't know me, my family has been blessed with a rich legacy in the music industry. It goes way back before I was even born. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me and how this transcends to that point. I'm born and raised in Richmond, California. I'm an 80s baby. And I grew up in the Bay Area. And so music was always an influence, in our home, especially growing up in the church, the gospel music and so forth. My father, the late Reverend James C. Birdsong Sr., he passed in 1997. My dad was a gifted singer, but he had opportunity to record back during the golden era of gospel music. My mother told me the story, but my father never pursued that opportunity. And so I remember my dad playing those 45 LP records of Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers. He was a Sam Cooke fan. He would play records by Reverend James Cleveland, the Caravans, the Harmonizing Four, Reverend Cleophas Robinson, all the iconic gospel artists during that era of gospel music. And me growing up, I grew up listening to those records, but the contemporary gospel music movement was also going on during the 80s. Coming from the Bay Area, I grew up listening to the Hawkins family, Edwin Hawkins, Oh Happy Day, Walter Hawkins, Tremaine Hawkins,
Oh, yes.
family. Yes. And I actually met Walter Hawkins at his church one time. And I talked to Edwin on the phone a couple of times. It was back in the 2000s when I was in transition to move here from in California. So, but I didn't take it seriously until I got when I got in high school. So what happened was when my parents divorced when I was 15. So after my mom and dad divorced, me and my mom moved to Fairfield, California, which is in the northern part of the Bay Area. It's going towards Sacramento. And when I was at Fairfield High School, I was during my 10th grade year, I had a teacher named Mrs. French. And so she told the class us to write a paper. I said, you know what? I'm gonna write about gospel music. So I wrote that paper, got an A on that paper. And I'm like, okay, God, you bless my family in this. And I grew up singing in the choir around the house as we do. But I'm like, I'm gonna have to learn about the business side of the music industry. So what I did was during the 90s, during the Bill Clinton years, when the internet was first getting going, we had an internet access at our school library. And I had a friend named Furman. Now, Furman and I was both from the same city. And we actually attended another high school in Richmond, California during our 9th grade year. And that summer, him and his family moved to Fairfield, and so did I. And we ran into each other one day in class. So we would go to the library and we would visit websites of the major record labels, our favorite artists. And that right there allowed me to study the industry and that journey because people I grew up listening to and admire, I'm like, okay, how did you allow them to be successful? How did they did it? So I did that and I continued to do this. And then when I was about 17, just before my father passed, I went on a field trip in San Francisco. Love going over there on field trips as a child. And so during my 11th grade year, this was the next following year, I had a teacher named Mrs. Alice Claiborne. I was her TA during my junior year in high school. And the next year, she was my teacher. And so every year she would take all her students on a fashion tour in San Francisco because she was teaching foods and fashions. So I went over there with her class. And so one afternoon during the lunch break, everybody was, eating lunch, doing what they were doing. So I decided to walk to the Virgin record store. And I never been to a music store big like this. I mean, it was a huge store. So I went in there one day because I wanted to check out the latest gospel music releases and everything else. But India, something got my attention that afternoon. There was a magazine. Never heard of this magazine in my life. I walked over to it. It was called Gospel Today magazine. I don't know if you remember, heard or not. So on the cover of this magazine, Robert Townsend and Susanna Douglas of the Parenthood was on the cover. So I picked up the magazine and I was reading it. I said, wow, this is wonderful. And so I put it down and walked away. And sometimes when something catches your attention, you find yourself going back to it.
Yes.
Happened with me. I went back over there again, picked up the magazine, put it down again. And after maybe like the third or fourth time, I picked it up and said, I'm buying this magazine. So I purchased it. I read it for a whole year, subscribed to it. And then, I continued to learn the industry and so forth. So after I graduated from high school in 1998, and we're going to get to the early 2000s, I was in my early 20s. God started dealing with me about Atlanta, Georgia, because everybody was talking about Atlanta, Georgia was the Black Mecca for Blacks in the United States at that time. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be successful in this industry and really get out there and be around the people with it, I need to go to where it is. So it took a while. So my mother said, James, God's going to bless us to move to Atlanta, but it's not time yet. So in 2005, God allowed us to step out on faith. We moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and that's when things really started taking off for me. Connecting with people and so forth. I joined the Gospel Music Worship of America, founded by Reverend James Cleveland, and things just took off from there. And now God has blessed me to be among a lot of our industry sources now. So I just thank God. So I met Bobby Jones, Dorothy Noah, Dottie Peoples, you name it. I met them, talked to them, and been in their presence and so forth. So that dream of mine transcended to what God's had me to do today.
Wow, that's an amazing short journey that you took us on.
Thank
And
you.
I know you have so many skills, abilities, and talents. And let's like share another one with the world. Tell us about your book, The Best Is Yet to Come, a testimony of one young man's redemption. I want to know more about that.
Sure. I'm so glad you asked that question. And this is the book right here.
Wow.
And this is little old me as a baby.
Oh.
Yeah. Everybody, my mama told me everybody was coming to my house. They say, James, they wanted to take you because you was a chubby baby.
I
So
know.
yes. So for a long time, people was telling me, James, you have a testimony, a story, and it's time for the world to know your story, the history of the Birdsong family, legacy, and all of that. What you've been through, how you accomplished, how you could, how the young people could be motivated from your story and your experience. So in 2014, I moved back to the Atlanta, Georgia area because me and my mom lived here from '05 to 11. We went back to California, but people was telling me, James, you coming back, you moving back to Atlanta. And I was like, I'm not, but you know what, they proved me wrong. And so after I moved back here, God just placed in my heart and my spirit to write this book. It took a year to write it. And it took, it took a lot, but it was finished in 2017. I went to Los Angeles. I did a special book signing for my family, honoring my mom, my cousin Edwin, who passed away in 2019, and some other members of my family. And one of my good friends, Lily, the Mississippi Mass Choir, came out to perform that day. Calvin Bernard Rome, who wrote for Reverend James Cleveland, Tremaine Hawkins, Daryl Coley, he's a friend of the family. He came out, and the local dignitaries and media sources in the industry. So I did that book signing for my family, and in the since this book's been out, God has opened up so many doors for this book. Babby Mason had me on her show. I was interviewed on Cornerstone Television Network. I've been featured on multiple radio shows, TV shows, magazines, and the book is still blessing and touching lives because, it's like what God had allowed me to go through to get to where he's at today. People are being touched from that, especially our young people. So I'm taking the readers on a journey from the past to the present. And also there's a lot of historical accounts in the book. I talked about Michael Jackson, and my cousin Edwin knew the king of pop. He knew him personally. I talked about the '89 earthquake in the Bay Area because I was 9 years old when it happened. I also talked about my mother's story she's been through. I talked about my father's story when he lost his eyesight in 1956. It's in there. I talked about that, and I talked about my journey, how I got to the industry, and I did another chapter talking about talking to the young people, encouraging them to go forth in their dreams and potential, and telling the adults what they could do to be better role models to our young people. So it's just I'm taking the readers on a journey and how they could get their redemption after even though we go through in life, but it's really a testimonial looking at, wow, God blessed this young man to accomplish all he accomplished this. So if he could do it, I could do the same.
Yes, and sometimes people are looking for that previous experience and someone that they can relate to, because our
Yes.
youth out here, I hear them a lot. They feel all alone, as if they don't have anyone. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's just, picking up a book or doing research on the internet and finding someone's story, like you said, that they can relate to. And like you said, you took them on your journey, and when you go on someone's journey, it helps you to like see, it's like, wow. And sometimes you don't have to experience things that other people did that maybe was overwhelming, because
Mm-hmm.
they took you on their journey, and now you have the tools. So you're giving people the tools to make it easier on their path. So when they go through
Right.
whatever situation that you or your family member that you included in your book went through, they
Yes.
can say, well, okay, this way will help me, that way will help them, to go through the situation, and let them know that, oh, because people don't feel normal. And hearing other
No.
people's story, it's like, wow. So they're like, oh, I feel normal after all. I'm just like other people. And because when, like, for example, when some people are in school, they get bullied and you think you're all alone, but you don't realize it's more people's story than someone realize that feels, and even if a person doesn't get bullied, they can feel out of place. But when you hear that other people that you thought was cool are experiencing the same thing, and they had to put on that I'm cool hat, because I had a lot of friends that I met with as adults that, I went to grade school with, and they're like, oh, you were so confident and I was so shy. I said, I thought you were the most popular. And then they share with me
Right.
how they were so insecure and they had to act a certain way so that they wouldn't appear insecure, and how they cried themselves to sleep. I'm like, wow, I would have never guessed, because you were always voted the most this, the most that, most popular. And you never know what people internal situations are. But your book is like, sounds like it's touched many souls. It's continuing to touch many souls and will continue in the future. That's why it's good to have that kind of legacy behind,
Right.
in book format for, future generations to see, okay, so this is, where he, how he started, and this is another part of the, the Birdsong legacy, and that you
That's true.
created your own platform. It's like you're continuing the legacy that your family, left you with, and you're like, okay, now it's time for me to put my uniqueness on it.
Right.
So you're putting the James C. Birdsong Jr. uniqueness on it, and it's touching the world already. So you're continuing. So that's really wonderful. So I, from the beginning, reading your bio, seeing how amazingly packed you are with honors and credentials. Can you tell us, how did you feel when you received the Albert Nelson Marquise Lifetime Achievement and Marquise Who's Who Top Artist Award?
Sure, India. But before I answer that question, I want to go back. I want to go back to something you just mentioned just now about our young people being bullied and teased. You know what? I know how I feel because I went through it. I talked about that in the book. I remember I went back home to the Bay Area in October 2017, a month after I did my family book signing in Los Angeles. I had to go to Chicago for a meeting with an event planner. And the next day, I flew back to the Bay Area and I visit my cousin Princess. We grew up together as children in Richmond, California. I'm like most Black youth, growing up in the inner city. I'm one of those inner city children. So I went back there to visit my family because I had to go do an engagement for a pastor for her appreciation. So my cousin Princess children, those are my little cousins, those are my babies. I love them so much and I'm so proud of them. I went home to surprise them during those few days. So they read my memoir and they said, wow, cousin James been through so much, but he accomplished a lot. And my cousin's oldest son, he's about to graduate from the same high school I graduated from coming up this June. So Mrs. Claiborne, the teacher that did the fashion field trip, she was his teacher about 3 years ago. So she asked her class to write a book report on a famous person. So my cousin King, as we call him Nas, he decided to write a report on my memoirs. He took it to the school, and that's when everybody found out I went to Fairfield High School. And she said he was one of my students, and I mean she was just telling him all about me during that time. He got an A on that paper. Very proud of him. But I just wanted to share that. But about the Albert Nelson Marquis Lifetime Achievement Award and the Marcus Who's Who Top Artist Award, I've been listening to Who's With America since 2004. So in 2018, they called me one day because they were doing a follow-up because they were going to publish the 2019 72nd edition of Who's With America. So they were telling me, James, you're going to be listed again. And they were telling me all of this. They were doing a follow-up call with me. I was in the room talking to my mother, India, and the young lady, her name is Megan. She's actually on staff for Marcus Who's Who Publications. And she gave me the news that I was not expecting. It made my day. She said, James, the committee had a meeting and you've been selected to be receiving the Albert Nelson Marquis Lifetime Achievement Award based on your accomplishment, especially in the gospel music industry. When she told me that, my mother, you should have seen her on her look on her face. She was smiling and praising God right then and there. I was not expecting this. So, you know, is I tell people it's the Lord's doing. And then after that, they called me back telling me that I was chosen to receive the Albert Nelson Marcus Housel Top Artist Award. That's for that's the recognition you do for people
All
in
praises to the
entertainment.
Most High.
Yeah, in the entertainment industry. So I was not expecting that. And so after they gave me the news, they did a press release of the Albert Nelson Marcus Lifetime Achievement Award, and they submitted all over the internet during that time. And this is the same award, India, that Colin Powell received his recognition, Warren Buffett received his recognition. I was told that former President Bill Clinton was recognized, and other noted people. So what they do is all the recipients of this award, they list us on their website, all the accomplishments, what we do. This is the highest recognition from Marcus Housel Publications. And this is the first in the Birdsong family. This is historical in our family. So I was not expecting this. So
you made history.
I'm very, very grateful for this. And then last year in 2020, when the pandemic first started, Congressman David Scott, he's my congressman, and him and his staff been very supportive with me. One of his staff members at his Washington D.C. office emailed me and said, "You're going to be recognized in the Congressional Record of Congress." But they finally did it this past January.
Wow,
yeah.
Wait on the Lord.
Yes, and it's been other awards. And then last year, Preach the Word Worldwide Network Television Network, they honored me with the Shining Star Award during their awards gala. I did not attend that night because of COVID, so they honored me with that award. And plus, I've been nominated for some awards in the industry this year. So it's been a lot. People been telling me, James, you got to get a larger cabinet or office.
I see the beautiful cabinet behind you.
That's one of them.
Yes, I have something similar, and you have to, it's showing thanks to the Most High, for how he gave you the talents and gifts, and he sent organizations, corporations, and award agencies to honor you the way you should be honored and appreciated the way you should be appreciated. And that's why when we go through our things as young children, teenagers, and young adults, and even adults get bullied, we have to, as long as we stay spiritually minded and spiritually grounded and connected with the Most High, he's going to reward us. So, young folks need to know that, don't think it's the end of your world because you're being bullied. And that's why your book is great, because it's motivational and inspirational. And like you said, it's taking people on a journey.
That's right.
Being that you're a music professional, please share a little bit about your corporation, Birdsong Association of Broadcasting and Arts.
Sure. This is a vision God has given me. When I was I'm going to go back to when I was 14 years old. I was in the 8th grade. I was hitting Adams Middle School in Richmond, California. The school is no longer operated. It was closed as of 2008 and 9. It's in the book. But I remember I was going to the store one morning with my godmother. She's in her early 80s now. She watched me grow up. And as a matter of fact, she's the only one left in my old neighborhood. Everybody else moved away. So we were talking one day, India. We was on the way to the store because I would assist her during that time, and she would give me some money for assisting her, helping her out. And so she said to me, James, what do you want to do? She wanted to know this. I told her, I said, I want to help. One of the things I want to do is help our young people. So in 2018, God placed it in my heart and my spirit to form Birdsong Association of Broadcasting and Arts. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what the organization is about. This organization is going to help today's African American youth. We're based here in Atlanta, Georgia, but we're going to have operations in Los Angeles, New York, and this coming Saturday, the administration board and I, we're going to have our first meeting of the year, and we're going to talk about one of the items is approving a location in Washington, D.C. This organization is going to help our African American youth pursue their dreams and goals of performing arts and media broadcasting. We'll do various programs, scholarships, mentorships with the people in the industry, media broadcasting. We're going to do scholarships. We're going to do a partnership. We're going to do partnerships with about 40 HBCUs. And we recently was approved of a partnership by the Atlanta Public Schools, because we selected 4 schools with our work with our organization. So we're going to start our programs in the fall, our various programs. And we're going to do a yearly annual benefit gospel concert that's going to go nationwide. And we're going to do workshops and other programs and projects in the organization. So a lot of people been telling me this is a blessing. This is in the Black community. And they said, James, we applaud you for doing this. And a lot of my colleagues in the industry, they know about it. And so, God allowed me to step out on faith to go ahead and get this going. But it wasn't until 2019 when I started having the meetings with the administration and board members, and we've been going ever since. So it's been a lot though, but we're happy, we're excited, and God has blessed me with a PR publicist who's been instrumental of making sure our organizational plan is on point, and she's going to do a major media campaign in the fall once we officially get going with the programs. And our website's being updated now, but it'll be up by later this week, and our plan is being updated as well. So this is for our young people to become the next Tyler Perrys, the next Oprahs, the next Shirley Caesars, the next entertainers, and in those careers in the industry, media, broadcast, and performing arts.
Yeah, what you're doing, it's been a long time coming,
Yes.
because when I was growing up, I'm a little older than you are. It's like
Yes.
we had a lot of music teachers of color, but they didn't have like a lot of say so as far as in a lot of the programs, but they were strong in what they taught us, to cherish, our heritage, the music that, that's about our heritage. And so it's great that you're bringing something for our young adults and young people in grade school, middle school, and at the college level for people of color. Because it's great when it comes from your people, and it helps them to relate and feel more positive and strong about who they are as a person. Because sometimes when you don't know your foundation and your background, you tend to believe his story. They call it history, but it's his story. It's a story someone else told about you, of who you are, and not your story that within yourself of your greatness. And, I feel that that's one of the reasons that the Most High made sure that you was honored and gifted, that you can be prepared to share your story. Because sometimes people, they may see and understand your story, but they want to see that you went on a journey, and how if they go on that same journey, even though they had to go through the weeds and the bushes and the poison ivy and whatever else they had to go through, they persevered, and they reached that level. And you can continue. There's so many levels, like you said. Sometimes when we complete one gift, the Most High is like, "Oh, I'm not finished with you yet. I have something else for you. Some other venue for you to work at. That one's being taken care of. Now something else." So I really admire and admire you for that. So let's go on to the next question. How do you feel the internet has impacted the music business? There's so much going on in the media. And the thing about it, there's even bullying and on the internet and racism, and it's like you can put out a topic and it's how people find a racist conversation about, let's say, a lamp. I have no idea. They can find something racist or something bullying to say about any topic. So how do you feel, you know, that the internet, how do you feel that it's impacting music, and how would you share with individuals of how to still get something positive out of the media, you know, when it comes to music?
I'm glad you asked that question, India, and thank you so much. The internet has really played an influential role in the music industry today. You know, years ago, you know, the music industry wouldn't even give an independent artist an opportunity. You know, especially like with the Grammy Award nominations, our major music industry award nominations, and in order to be on the Billboard charts or be nominated for a Grammy or anything, American Music Award, you have to be signed to a major record company. But now the industry has changed now, and the role of the internet has really played a role where where artists could really reach out and be on the Billboard music charts and get the award nominations and have build a major fan base following without being signed to a major record company. A lot of people going independent now, and that's what's going on now. Not just in gospel, but even in R&B, hip hop, and other genres of music. Like for example, with me, I'm actually mentoring a gospel artist right now out of Chicago. His name is Lafayette Brown, and you know, he's known as the godfather of gospel house, and he did a song called Let's Work. We connected last year. I've been mentoring him, India, and this brother is doing so well. I'm so proud of Lafayette. He's been on the different music charts. You know, he even have Cheryl Underwood following him on Twitter, and he's been getting award nominations. So I've been mentoring him, you know, telling him, okay, this is what you need to do, and everything I've been telling him to do, it's been nothing but positive results. So that's what's going on. You know, the internet has really played a major role with how artists in the industry could reach out to an audience without being signed to a record company. And I'm not putting the record companies down, because I'm planning to start a record company myself that helps aspiring artists to get out there on the national platform. Because in this music industry, there's a lot of politics. You know, I don't have nothing against the major competition shows or anything like that, but there's a lot of politics in this. So, you know, I had, you know, there's people had went to those platforms and they got turned away and they feel like they're giving up. No, you could still succeed. You don't have to go that route. There's other avenues that could designed to help you, that could allow you to reach and connect to your audience, especially where we're going on now with COVID-19. You know, so it has really played a major role in so many areas. I could talk about this all day, but I won't have time to do that. But at the same time, you have to remember who you are, and most of all, the gift that God had placed in you, you know, to help others in this. And yes, I know there could be negative influence as well. But India, one thing I learned, and my mom and dad they didn't teach me to be a quitter. I was blessed with teachers who pushed me and motivated me, and even the teachers that they watched me grow up in California, they're retired now. They still support me to this very day. They said, James, we're proud of you, you know, and they told me anywhere you go, we're gonna come out to see you. So, you know, God has blessed me with people in my life that saw greatness in me I didn't see in myself. And I tell the young people that, you know, don't quit. You have to keep going.
Yes.
So you know, so I want to tell that young lady, if you had that voice to sing, but you feel as though, oh, nobody's not giving me a chance, go ahead and start the YouTube channel, release your music. And to that young man that wants to into rap, he feels as though, well, you know, nobody's not giving me a chance. I want to tell that young man, go on the internet and push your music out there. A lot of our successful artists, like Chance the Rapper. They started off and look where they at now. And he was not signed to a record company. And he, he got Grammy Awards, Billboard chart hits and everything. So so it has, the music industry changes all the time, but it has really changed more now than it was 10 to 15 years ago. So we have to change with the times because it changes every day. Like with
Say that again.
any industry changes, but you have to go along with the flow in the change.
Yes, with that being said, what is the best advice that you've been given?
You really want to know? I'm gonna tell you what the best advice was given to me. Put God first in everything that you do. Work hard. Surround yourself with positive-minded people. Don't worry about the haters and naysayers. Stay focused. If you always remember that, you will succeed and go very far in life. I'm telling you from my experience. I had people to tell me, James, how you end up with all of this, everything you put your hands on, God bless you with it. When the favor of God is on your life, when the favor of God, I want everybody to listen to me right now. When the favor of God is on your life, no devil in hell could stop you from going after your blessing.
All praises to the Most High. Yeah.
And that's what
Repeat
I
that
learned
again.
growing
Say
up.
that again.
I'm gonna say that again because I'm preaching to the right now. I said when the favor of God is on your life, no devil in hell could stop you from going after the blessing that God has placed in front of you. When it's for you, it's for you. Like the song the Miami Mass Choir did years ago. When God has for you, it's for you.
Yes, indeed. So with that being said, those are great words of wisdoms. So what other words of wisdoms can you share with our global audience that will help them on their journey within the music industry and with whatever career path that they're on? What words of wisdom, that you can share with them, on a general platform that you're like, okay, this can reach children, youth, young adults, seniors, middle age. And, because that's what we're all about here at Real Talk with INCODA, is about uplifting,
Yes.
inspiring, and motivating. And we want to make sure that our guests, leave with that inspirational words of wisdom to motivate our audience.
Sure. I just want to thank everybody, to my family, my friends, everybody that you know who you are, for loving me, praying for me, and encouraging me, and not giving up on me. Because I believe in giving credit who credit is due. That's how I was raised. And so I just want to tell the viewing audiences that put God first, step out on faith, believe in trusting him. And one of my favorite scriptures is in Philippians 4:13, when Paul said, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That right there has really helped me throughout my journey. It really, really has. And my mother told me years ago, she said, James, you stay with, she said, James, when I'm dead and gone, you stay with God. And that's what both her and my dad and the elders of my family had instilled in me. And that's what this generation needs to do. I'm gonna be 41 years old on the 16th of May, and I still have God still has more for me to do, but I'm just grateful to what He has done for me throughout the years. So I just want to tell the viewing audience, and especially our young people, dream big, and you will go very, very far in life. And if you want to learn more about me, you could visit my official website at www.jamescbirdsongjr.net. That's www.jamescbirdsongjr.net. And my website will have my itinerary, my contacts on there for booking inquiries, my information, media updates, and much more. Now, the website for Birdsong Associate of Broadcasting and Arts, it'll be up by the end of this week. But if you go on my bio page, there's a link about the organization. But once the website is up by the end of this week, then I'm just want to tell everybody, just keep going back, and you'll be able to go click on that link. It'll take you to the website for the organization.
Okay, so if they wanted a booking with you, they would book with you to either interview you or learn more about your organization or be a part of your organization.
For bookings, if they want to book me for singing performances, speaking engagements, like graduation addresses, that's on my website.
Yes.
Now,
okay. If you
if they
wanted
have
to
to go to
clarify it so they can understand,
right,
yes.
right. So if they go to the contact page, it's on there. But the link for the organization is on my bio. It says Birdsong Associate of Broadcasting the Arts. When they click on that link by the end of this week, it will take them to the website. They want to learn more about the organization. But for my booking inquiries, they could go on the contact, and all the information is right there on the website.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Real Talk with INCODA. Don't forget to just subscribe and hit the like button. All praises to the Most High. Thank you.